All right, boys, welcome back to another fucking video. Okay, this is about to be a fucking banger because I'm going to be showing you exactly how I scale call funnels to 750K a month and beyond. So, long story short, I've printed a fuckload of money off call funnels. I for sure printed 750K a month with the current call funnel I'm running, as well as I've generated multiple millions across the board total with all of my clients combined, right? So, that's what this video is about. In this video, I'm going to be showing you my best practices. I'm basically going to be teaching you how you guys can take a call funnel and turn it into a Cash App fucking money flipping machine. And I'm going to be talking about shit nobody else has taught you in this space. So buckle up. Once again, I say this in every video, grab your fucking phone, tape it to the wall, tape your butt cheeks to the seat that you're in and get ready and watch this entire fucking video. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into it. My name is Jason Malucci. For those of you who are new here, I work with info coaching, content creators, people who sell info and coaching, and I help them scale to multiple six figures, even seven figures a month in cash collected. Okay, we're not talking revenue, we're talking fucking profit here. All right. So as you guys can see here, I've hit $1 million months. I've collected multiple six figures a month for multiple clients. I've done six-figure launches, and I want to emphasize, I have nothing to sell you in this video. I'm simply sharing what I learn and do on a day-to-day basis with the goal of documenting my journey, documenting everything I'm doing, sharing it with you guys so you guys can copy and paste it and use it to make a fuckload of money for yourself, as well as explain these things so that I retain the information better for myself. So no time wasted. Let's get into it. First, let's get something very clear, okay? What do I even mean when I say call funnel? Okay, for those of you who are fucking rookies, I'm gonna explain it in like 10 seconds and then we'll move on, all right? So call funnels is simply, you're taking traffic, you're generating it. This could be through paid advertising, through organic, through Google, YouTube, Meta, TikTok, SEO, wherever the fuck you do this. You're driving them to typically an opt-in page. Sometimes you can skip this step and just drive it to a VSL page. They're typically gonna apply for a coaching program or something that you sell, then or book a call, then they're going to go to a thank you page. You're going to turn them into a showed call and into a closed deal. Okay, so if there's one thing I want you to take away, and then you're going to, by the way, then you're going to print some fucking dog shit and hold it up to your ear. Okay, but if there's one thing I want you to take away from a call funnel, it's that it's literally how simple it is. Some of you overcomplicate the shit out of your call funnels. All we're doing is we're taking traffic, we're booking appointments, we're getting them to show up, and we're closing them as deals. Okay, you don't need to overcomplicate it. And that is simply what I mean when I say call funnel. All right, so let's talk about the problem that most people struggle with. Most people's call funnels are fucking dog shit. Okay, and this is for a couple of reasons, or it could be for a couple of reasons. Number one, low lead flow or bad quality leads. It's a common problem I see. Number two, they have a shit sales process, or they just don't know what they're doing to aid buyers along in the sales process. And three, they never meet people where they are, aka they never meet leads where they are, right? The leads have to do all the work throughout the funnel, which is, if that doesn't make sense, it'll make sense in a second, because I'm going to be showing you in this video how to solve all of these problems. And once again, turn your call funnels and turn them into Cash App money fucking printing machines. Okay, so number one, the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is front end messaging, understanding awareness levels and alignment. Okay, so to start this video, I wanted to start by talking about the front end of things, kind of, generating leads, how to generate quality leads for your call funnel. And I want to start this off by giving you guys an example, right? So imagine you have an ideal wife, right? Everybody has an ideal wife or an ideal partner. They have, things that they're looking for in somebody that they want to be with, right? So imagine in this example that yours is loyal. You want her to be loyal. You don't want her to go cheat on you with a famous rapper, right? She's probably on the shyer side. You want her kind of underground, more low-key gym. At least this is what I want. This is what, probably a lot of people want. And some girl that you would probably find at some church or some shit, right? You don't want some chick doing OnlyFans or something. But imagine this is your ideal wife, right? Well, obviously your ideal wife has traits. And there are certain things from a dating perspective that will attract this specific type of person or this specific type of girl, right? And there's certain things that attract a very different type of girl. Okay, so I want to give you this example, right? Let's say this is your ideal wife. This is Jessica. She's like chilling you're probably gonna find her at like church or some shit. She's like a loyal, she's like a 10 out of 10 fucking woman, right? Well, if your Instagram is filled with a bunch of pictures of you just flexing on the gram, look at little baby here on top of a fucking Cybertruck, all red on 4G auto wheels with a stack of dog shit in his hand. Like, if this is what your Instagram looks like, and this is your ideal wife, do you genuinely think a girl like this is going to be attracted to something like this? Okay. In my fucking opinion and in my experience, absolutely not. This kind of shit will attract, I'm not saying like it won't attract beautiful women, but it will attract the wrong type of girl if this is your ideal wife. This will attract OnlyFans chicks. This will attract people who are in it for the wrong reasons. Okay. Versus an Instagram or a post that looks more like this, right? It's sort of flexy. Obviously, if you know this kind of watch, I believe this is a Patek Nautilus or some shit. So that's an expensive watch, but a lot of girls don't know that. It's sort of chill. He's just smoking a cigar. He's not wearing anything too crazy, just a collared shirt. It's not too flexy. It's not the same as Lil Baby on an all red Cybertruck with 4 Giotto wheels, flexing the amount of dog shit he has in his hand, right? You have a much higher likelihood of attracting more of this type of women and better quality women, right? If this is what you're looking for in a woman, if you were to post something like this versus if you were to post something like this, okay? And so obviously you can see where I'm going with this, and you can see how this relates to marketing and advertising. But if your Instagram is filled with pictures of you flexing nice cars, watches, bottle service, yachts, etc., your inbound leads, if you will, on Instagram probably will not be your ideal partner. Hell, your ideal partner probably isn't even on Instagram, okay? And so it's the same with leads in advertising, and whether it's organic or marketing or whatever. You get no leads and you have no good leads because your shit is not aligned. You simply have no congruence, right? You're targeting, or the type of people that buy your product most often are a certain type of person, and your front end messaging is probably like catered toward something completely fucking different. Maybe you're not even thinking about this in the first place, right? So let me give you another example to get this point across and articulate this point to you even further, okay? Let's say you are selling to a richer demographic. You are selling to people who are more affluent. They are more sophisticated. Let's say you're selling to like, fucking surgeons or something, right? Surgeons or like a doctor or something along these lines in this sort of demographic, okay? If they click on your ad or they, see your organic content, whatever, maybe that's aligned, maybe that catches their attention and it resonates with them. But if they click over to your landing page, and your landing page is something like completely different, targeted toward, a more top of funnel beginner, like fucking poor person, right? This would be the type of landing page that has a headline of like, how to make your first 5K a month online, right? This is targeted toward a completely different person. They're typically going to be poor. And this is typically going to be targeted toward a more unaware audience, right? So you're talking to a rich person over here, probably somebody who's a little bit more aware of, whatever you're selling. And you're hitting them with a landing page that's targeted toward a completely different person. If a rich person saw this, a surgeon, a doctor, whatever, some headline about how to make your first 5K a month online, they're probably not going to give a fuck. They're making significantly more than $5,000 a month. Okay, so you can see the point I'm trying to make, and you can see how this relates to advertising and marketing, etc. The exact opposite is true. Let's say you're targeting the 5K a month person. You're targeting a poor person, a beginner. You're targeting a more top of funnel, unaware person. Like they're like just starting to get into online business, assuming you're selling like some biz op offer, right? And you hit them with some headline about how they can, invest into like private equity or some shit, or how they can start a fucking VC firm. Like, obviously that's not going to align. Like, you attracted them in your initial advertisement or your organic content by, selling probably some lifestyle shit, something that would attract a poor person, something that would attract a top of funnel, more general public type of person. So why on your landing page or in your offer or whatever the fuck you sell, why would that be targeted toward the complete opposite person? And I see this happen all the time, right? So once again, it happens vice versa. And I'm not saying one demographic is better than the other. I'm not saying selling to poor people, you should never do that. And I'm not saying you should only sell to rich and affluent people. The point I'm trying to make is what you sell, the landing pages you have, the VSLs you write, the type form applications you have, the advertising messaging, the organic content messaging, it has to be congruent. It all has to be aligned for this to flow smoothly. Or the offer owner, or you're like the person in control of like content and advertising, the actual front end messaging may be out of your control. So if you're working with a content creator or a client or whoever who they've built an audience completely based off lifestyle vlogs, general public type of content, you should not create an offer for them that's going to be targeted toward an affluent rich person, something expensive, something that would be just not aligned with that type of person. Okay, so I want to emphasize, like, unless, maybe you're not the offer owner, maybe you can't control the audience they built or the advertising messaging, etc. But everything else is in your control. Okay, so you can take the audience they've currently built and you can adjust the actual offer and the marketing and the messaging and the landing pages accordingly. Okay, so super important point to make is that, I see this all the time. This is why people never scale, is that they're not, what they are selling, the people they are targeting, the marketing, the messaging, it's not congruent and it's not aligned. Now, moving on to point number 2, okay? And this is something that has made us a fuckload of money when we run call funnels or really any type of funnel, okay? So buckle up, because number 2 is getting gritty in the SDR department. And if you don't know what I mean by SDR, actually I don't really exactly know what the letters stand for. I think it's like sales development rep or some shit. That could be way off. Maybe I butchered that. But what I mean is appointment setters. Okay, appointment setters are so important, and I'm going to explain why. So let's start with this. Most of you guys have varying levels of lead flow. Okay, some of you guys have not that many leads at all. Maybe you're selling like a more expensive offer, a more high ticket offer, right? Maybe your lead flow is just lower. Okay, maybe some of you guys have decent amount of leads, right? You get a decent amount of leads, kind of iffy. It's not like a ton, but it's not like nothing. And maybe you guys get a fuckload of leads. Okay, guess what? Do you know what you could do instantly to instantly make a fuckload more money, regardless of what situation you are, regardless if you're 1, 2, or 3? You know what you could do to make more money? Dial every single fucking lead within minutes, if not seconds, okay? If you want to win, you need to get gritty, okay? You guys lose because you play fucking defense. The guys who win, like me, and what we do is we play fucking offense. And I want to give a quick shout out to, at Benny Lockhart on YouTube. You can go check him out. He's our, setter manager for the agency, right? He runs this shit. He runs the SDR department like a D1 college football team, like a team that's, operating at an extremely high level. Okay, you can see the example I gave you here. It's Nick Saban. It's Alabama. Alabama has won like 10 championships in the last 8 years or something. Wait, that's not even possible. But you get the point, okay? Everybody knows Alabama is like a fucking top tier football team, and everybody knows Alabama is extremely fucking disciplined, okay? Do you think Nick Saban would allow some bullshit to happen, like players missing practices, people not dialing leads, not doing shit on time, etc.? No. And it's the same with appointment setters. If you lack, or salespeople in general, if you lack, right, they will lack. The second your energy drops and you disconnect, so will they. Okay, the second you say, "Oh, I'm going to take the day off. I'm going to go sip pina coladas and fuck off on the beach," while a German supermodel feeds me green grapes. Okay, the second you do that, they look at you and they say, "Oh, that's okay for me to do that," right? And you're simply not going to make much money. Okay, so the point I'm trying to make is you need to dial every single lead that comes through the funnel. Okay, and you need to have an aggressive team of setters that are willing to do that, and you need to keep them accountable. And I forget where the fuck I saw this. I think I saw this on I was listening to a podcast the other day. This guy who was running a $1 million a month business, multiple $1 million a month business. He was asked what's a big reason for his success, and he said, "I have this rule, okay, and this rule has made me a fuckload of money. No lead enters the funnel without getting contacted multiple times from multiple different angles to try to get them to connect." Okay, so I want to make an interesting point here. Okay, for those of you who are too cool to do this, you're like, "Jason, there's no way dialing every lead could really make you that much money, right? Like, how do you even know they're going to pick up? This seems like a lot of work to put together a setter department, or for me to dial the leads myself. Is this even worth it, right?" Look at this guy, fucking Grant Cardone. Okay, by the way, peep the fucking, what is that, a Rolls Royce Cullinan in the back and a private jet and a helicopter. That guy has a net worth of $600 fucking million. And if you don't believe me, I chat GPT'd it. Okay, so as of right now, he has probably a net worth of at least $600 million. If not, this dude's a fucking billionaire. Okay, go of the info space, doing multiple fucking 8 figures a month minimum. Okay, I also chat GPT'd, how the fuck does Grant Cardone make most of his money? And you know what it said? Grant Cardone's companies generate a significant portion of their revenue through outbound sales teams aggressively dialing. Grant Cardone and these 10X guys, this guy dead ass makes 8 figures a month minimum. Look, he's wearing a fucking Richard Mille. Okay, And a significant portion of his revenue is coming through outbound sales teams aggressively dialing leads as soon as they come in. If you don't believe me, just opt into one of his funnels or buy one of his products. You know what's going to happen? You're going to immediately get a phone call and they're going to try to sell you something else. Okay. And so also another point I want to make clear here is when I mean dial leads, it's not coming from a place of you're just getting on the phone and fucking hard pitching them on something. No, your setters or you or whoever need to come from a place of genuinely wanting to help the person out. If you think what you sell could genuinely help people and you've seen it change lives, you would do this, because every single person that comes through the funnel, you could potentially help, right? And so also how you'll see more success by dialing every lead is that if you come to these calls or you dial these leads, you get on the phone with these people, genuinely in your heart, coming from a place of, I want to help this person out. I want to understand this person's situation and I want to see if this makes sense for them. Instead of just hard pitching, I need to make this phone call so they can buy my shit, buy my shit, buy my shit. If you come from the first kind of angle, you will see insane results. You genuinely think about this. When you dial a lead, it is typically the first time someone is like coming into contact with your business. Okay, it's the first time they're talking to somebody. It's a first impression. You guys know how important first impressions are, right? Bring it back to dating. If you go on a first date with a girl and your first impression is fucking shit, you have no energy. You're just literally there hard pitching her to go back to your fucking place, okay? They will literally never speak to you again, right? Same is true when you're operating a setter department or you're a setter yourself or you're dialing the leads. This is so important. Stop playing fucking small ball. Stop playing defense. Get on the offensive. Dial every single lead. Aggressively dial every single lead. Double dial. Text them. Don't harass them, and make sure you're compliant. Make sure you're SMS compliant, etc. But guys, people are busy, okay? You'd be surprised how many times we follow up with a lead. 6, 7, 10 times we've called them over the past week or whatever the case is, right? And they finally answer. They say, sorry, I've been busy with work. People are fucking busy, right? Think about how much shit normal people have going on 24/7. Okay, so aggressively dial leads, follow up, stop playing small ball, stop playing defense, and get on the offensive if you want to actually start making a fuckload of money with your call funnel, okay? The third and final thing that I want to show you to start printing with your call funnel, and there's a way more things you could do to actually make a fuckload more money with your call funnel. But obviously, I'd be here for literally a day. I could probably list out 20 fucking things you could do to make more money. But for this video, it's 3 things. So this is the third and final thing, okay, is what I like to call no-brainer contextual opportunities. So take a look at the first example I gave you, right? I showed you this funnel earlier, okay? You might look at this funnel and you might be like, oh, it's flowing smoothly, right? You have the traffic, they're hitting the opt-in page, they're opting in, they're hitting the VSL page, they're going to apply, they're going to book a call, they're show to the call, whatever, right? But let me ask you a question, okay? What about all the little pocket opportunities within this funnel where people do not take the next step that you want them to take to move them along in the sales process, right? So I'll just go list a couple, okay? Let's say, the traffic that you're driving to the opt-in page, okay? Number one, not everybody that you show an advertisement to, okay, is going to click to the page. In fact, typically 98% or more will see your advertisement and not click to the page. Or your organic content. Not everybody is going to watch your organic content and even click to the page. Some people don't even fucking know it's there. Okay, what are you doing with this 98% of people? Do they just go into the abyss? Do you retarget them to more ads like a smart person would? Do you try to hit them with a different conversion mechanism? And the same is true across the funnel. What about the people that land on your page and don't opt in? If you think about it, a decent opt-in rate is 30%, right? That means literally 70% of people on a good day, right? 70% of people hit that page and don't opt in. Your messaging didn't connect with them. They just weren't feeling it that day. The headline didn't work. This is a perfect example of a contextual opportunity where you could hit somebody with an email workflow or retargeting ads, right? But once again, this goes across the funnel. What about people that hit your VSL page, but they don't press play on the VSL or they don't start the application? What about people that maybe they apply, maybe they book a call, right? What if they go all the way through and they book a call, but they don't show up for that call? Do you just never speak to them again? What are you doing to get these people back on the phone? What about people, we could even rewind a little bit. What if people, go and they start your application that's going to send them to, where they can book a call, but they just fill out half of it. Like, what are you doing with those people? What about the people who get on the phone with you, right? They show to the call, but they don't close. Like, would you have contextual email marketing that they're going to get hit with to get them back on the phone? They're a very interested lead. They got on the phone with you, right? Once again, the way you can utilize this, I'm going to show you how in a second. I'm going to give you an example, but the way you could do this is with contextual email marketing, contextual SMS marketing, contextual advertising. These are three great ways that you could accomplish this, right? What about, people who book a call, but what do you do between the time it takes between when someone has booked a call and when the call is scheduled for, right? Is there email marketing, and maybe you're even running like engagement ads? Like, what are you doing to increase their interest to actually show up to the call? Just because they booked a call doesn't mean they're going to show. You have to actually keep them interested. These are, once again, all contextual opportunities that you can put things in place to get people to progress and take the next step, right? So now you might be wondering, like, Jason, how the fuck do I know what contextual opportunities to hit? So number one, first and foremost, like, hit as many as you can. And this will take some time because throughout any funnel, like, you could play that game forever. There's so many different situations and contextual opportunities that you could put things in place to get people to take the next step. Okay, so that's first and foremost. But second is you need to prioritize this. And the way you prioritize this is through bottleneck analysis. So I'll give you an example, right? Let's take the same funnel, okay? It's the same exact funnel. And let's say the opt-in to application rate is like 3%. That like 3% of people that opt into the VSL are filling out the application, or they're booking the call, whatever the next step for your funnel is, right? But only 3% of people that opt in. Like, the opt-in rate could be 50%, but only 3% of people of those 50% are even, taking the next step. It's like, my question to you is like, what are you doing with the 97%? And what I meant by bottleneck analysis is typically within a funnel, especially like a call funnel, right? There's typically one of these stats that's absolutely fucked. So number one, you need to have an understanding of like good industry KPIs and averages, et cetera, for these stats. And you need to map it out across the board. But typically in these, there's like usually one that's fucked. Like a 3% opt-in to app rate is horrible. I mean, that's horrible. That number should be upwards of 30, 40, 50%. Okay. It's like, yeah, you might have like a show rate of 50%. And sure, you could put things in place to get it to 60%. And you should eventually. Maybe your opt-in rate is like 25%, right? Or 30%. And maybe you could put things in place to retarget people, retargeting ads, et cetera, to really juice it up and get it to like 50%, or to really capitalize on that traffic. But typically what you want to do is start with the lowest hanging fruit. There's usually a stat that's just absolutely fucked. Okay. So once again, an opt-in to app rate of 3%, this should be like 40%. Like, you could dead ass 10x this stat easily. Okay. And for those of you that don't know, if you 10x this stat, if this is where your traffic's coming from, this is the only funnel you have, you 10x the stat, you 10x the business. Okay, typically, all right? Obviously, that's assuming there's no like drop in quality, et cetera, right? But back to the question, what are you doing with the 97%? Most of you guys just let them go into the abyss. They're just literally never to be heard of before. They're never to be contacted. They're just gone, right? They're just uncaptured leads and uncaptured, potential deals, right? And so, what I would do in this situation, right? If my opt-in to app rate was 3%, well, number one, I would obviously, maybe change up the messaging of the opt-in page or what they're seeing after, or change up the application first of all. But let's just say you even keep those the same. Like, it's like, why do you not take this opportunity and hit them with like contextual email marketing? Like, what if they just got an email sequence of like 8 emails that was to push them to, continue to fill out the application, right? Obviously, these are value dense emails. You're going to be providing value. You're going to be handling objections, whatever reason that they might not have filled out the application. You're going to handle that in these emails. You're going to provide value, resources, context, etc. And every call to action in this email sequence, you could send them fucking 10 emails for all I care, but it's to send them back to the application to get to the next step, right? To move further along in the sales process. What if you hit these people with a new set of, retargeting ads? Like, they just started getting blasted with like different retargeting ads, right? To get them, that just went straight to the application because they already opted in, right? They just get blasted with the retargeting, almost like, I see this in e-commerce a lot, right? This is very common in e-commerce. And this is a great example. It's like, you see e-commerce brands, they have, open cart ads or open cart email flows. If they open the cart but they don't purchase, you have like credit card info flows. If they start entering their credit card information but they fail to complete the purchase, they'll get hit with like contextual email marketing or contextual SMS marketing. It should be the same with info products. It should be the same with whatever the fuck you're selling. There's always contextual opportunities for you to market to them. You to do email marketing. Once again, advertising. The examples I gave you to get them to continue to take the next step and move further along in the sales process, right? So once again, I could sit here all day and tell you every single contextual opportunity we capitalize off of. I actually have a banger SOP that I created on this called Cleanup Workflows SOP. The point I'm trying to get across to you is this. Throughout your funnel, you can always utilize if-then logic, automation, and retargeting to clean up, right? And this is your job if you're running somebody's funnel or you're operating someone's business, etc. It's like at every single point in the funnel, you need to be putting things in place, utilizing if-then logic, automation, and retargeting people to try to continue to get them to convert and clean up the shit that fell through the cracks, okay? Imagine your business is like a fucking pipe where water runs through. Well, like, yeah, there's holes in the fucking pipe. Like water falls through. You need to put a bucket under that, capture it, and send it back through the fucking pipe where it came from, okay? That is your fucking job. So typically, like if you just do one of these things, it typically won't make you like a ton of money or you won't see a huge difference, okay? But when you stack a fuckload of these contextual opportunities, you can see a significant increase in revenue, okay? And so your job should be to slowly but surely, like once again, it's going to take time, depending on your funnel, especially if you have multiple funnels, but your job is to slowly but surely increase the number of these contextual opportunities that you capitalize off of. And you can genuinely make a huge difference in revenue for your call funnel by doing that. Okay. So anyways, boys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was a bit of a quick one. I could sit here and go in depth all day. I love talking about this shit, but then the video would be 3 hours long, right? So if you want to, hear more from me or talk to me, whatever, follow me on Instagram and shoot me a DM. Put up my account and my app on screen. I appreciate you boys for watching. I hope you got some value from this, and I will catch you guys in the next one.